Canyon Creek Fire District recall election canvas. And present today are 3 county commissioners and Amy Reeves, who is the head of the elections department, and written these names down. How bad I am.
Go around the room, you get them on the record. Might be a good way to do it.
You can introduce yourself.
You would think that he'd been doing this for 18 years, right?
That's it.
All right, go. Who are you?
Tammy Harbor, and I work for Miss Amy over here.
Okay.
Amy Reeves, treasurer, clerk, recorder, election administrator.
And Connor Fitzpatrick, Lewis and Clark County Elections Division Supervisor.
That was the name I was trying to come up with.
That's all right. I've been introduced under a variety of names in the past.
Well, yes, Connor, we've worked together quite a while.
That's all right. I call him Fitzgerald one time. So.
Yeah,
Fitzgerald.
I've been
Yeah,
called.
he's
call him-
Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Patrick to the pick.
The answers to Constance Porter,
Wendy Adamson, Lillian Miller,
Greg Weed, William Adamson.
You members of the
Greg
public.
Weed.
W-E-E-D.
Thanks for your.
Goodbye. She introduced the
And-
commission.
I
William
will
Adamson.
introduce
Oh, sorry.
Commissioner, sorry, what?
I thought you were pointing.
Greg Weed and,
William Adamson.
okay, are you any relation to the lady down the? oh,
Second to the right.
Yes, yeah.
go on.
This is County Commissioner Tom Rolfe.
Yeah.
And to my immediate left is Commissioner Andy Hunthausen. I am Commissioner Candace T. Payne. We know what the T stands for. Oh, hello. And this is the lady who runs the show. If we do anything wrong, she can cut us off. And this is our friend Nadine.
Hi, Nadine. Thanks, Nadine.
Okay, Connor, I believe it is time for me to turn it over to you.
Sounds great. So, as you mentioned, we are here to discuss the canvas for the 2025 Canyon Creek recall election. So we've already introduced the board and everybody. Everyone else has signed in. If anybody else does show up while we're here, they'll also need to sign in. So to start off with, I'm going to go through the process of calling for a recall election because this is something that is something that hasn't happened since I started, at least in 2022, and wanted to kind of get it on the record for this is how this came to be. Because usually elections are scheduled in advance and all kinds of fun things like that. But this came about through a petition process. So got some copies of the petitions that were submitted here. Several folks from the Canyon Creek Fire District got together and went, okay, now we feel recall is our option and only option in this case for this item going on in our community. So they contacted our office about October last year, so right in the middle of the general election, which was really fun, but then dropped off a drafted petition. Petition was then cleared by the county attorney's office and the elections office for form and function. And then at that point, it was cleared for signature gathering. If I remember all my stats correctly, Canyon Creek needed 41 signatures to be verified to meet the recall threshold. And they got 44 verified. So there were a few involved there that were extra, but no worries there. We're happy to verify those signatures regardless. At that point, the individual subject to the recall, Mr. Richard E. Grady, was notified that the petition against him had met the required number of signatures and that he had 10 days from the receipt of the letter mailed on December 16th to provide his statement of justification for the ballot as well. This was received, I believe it was January 2nd, because I was on vacation that day, because he did not pick up the letter until Christmas Eve. Was checking in on that many times throughout the day to go, has it been picked up yet? Hasn't been picked up yet, because it was sent certified mail. So that way we would know exactly when the 10 days kicked off. Upon receipt of that 200-word maximum statement of justification, we started putting the ballot together, started started scheduling folks, getting things together, and March 18th was election day. We mailed out at the end of February, and because this is a landowner, or this is a fire district election, 332106 allows landowners to vote in this election as well. So I want to put that in front of you right away, because once we start looking at these numbers, the immediate look is like, wait a minute, why is there one more here? I will get into that.
Connor, I want
Yes.
to clarify that a little bit.
Absolutely.
When you say residents, so if a person owns property within the fire district boundaries,
Mhm.
but lives in Idaho.
Yep.
Then that person could also be counted in this.
They can reach out to our office, provide proof of payment of property taxes, and show us, okay, this is the location, this is the geocode, this is my signature saying, yes, this is me, and they can request a ballot. So there are a lot of landowners out there, only, I think it was 26 requested a ballot from us.
And their tax bill would have to show Canyon Creek Fire
Yes.
on it.
Okay, well, thank you for explaining that to me.
Yeah, no problem. It's definitely different from other elections where it's just the residents get to vote in an area. So a nice little addition for this form. So moving to the election itself, I have here, in case you guys were interested, all the landowners who have requested a ballot from us for this election, but then also landowners who have requested a ballot for the May election coming up. So if you'd like, we have those for your review as well. But going to this sheet here, the recall canvas report. You'll see at the top that there are 323 registered voters in the Canyon Creek Fire District. Now the next number down is the total number of ballots issued, 324. This is where I said things get a touch goofy. How do you issue one more ballot than there is for people in the district? Well, 323 registered voters counts active and inactive voters and does not include the landowners. So we mailed out, counting the, I do have this separately here. We mailed out 298 ballots to those 323 people. The balance of those folks from 323 minus the 298 are the inactive voters. And since this was conducted by a mail ballot election, they were not automatically sent a ballot. Had they come by our office to reactivate their voter registration status, they would have been given a ballot before they left our office. Moving down the line here, we've got, yes, question, go ahead.
It's not my strong point, but, so we've got 323, or 324 total ballots issued.
Yep.
298 issued to residents.
Yep.
26 issued to landowners. And when it says landowners, that doesn't necessarily, this is the guy that lives in Idaho.
Yep, that's the stack of these folks here.
Okay? And there were 26 of those issued.
Yep.
So then the 26 and the 298 total 324.
Yes, indeed, you are correct.
Okay, and there were sent.
Yep, getting to that right
Yep,
now.
okay.
So there were 102 ballots that we sent out to, these are all voters in the district, so residents for the district, because we got all of our landowner ballots back. We sent out 102 ballots that were not returned. So these are people who perhaps are snowbirding right now, didn't know there was a recall election going on, or decided, I'm not sure how to vote in this recall election, so I'm not going to. Or perhaps there's always the possibility that the ballot got lost in their myriad of papers and mail on the counter or in the car.
So that 102 that were not returned to us was part of that 298 that we had issued to those residents.
Yes, okay.
So then the grand total we received back is 222. Of that 222, 197 were voted, but we had 6 that were rejected. 4 came the day after the election, so they are late for election. 2 signatures did not match, and those 2 voters we contacted via mail, sent them a signature rejection letter saying, hey, come by the office, get this rectified, but then also contacted each of them twice, because it's really easy to do that when there are only 2 people who've been rejected. And then, of course, we had 7 that were voided through this election process. So one was a voter that moved out of state after we had issued ballots. So once we got that notification, we canceled that, we voided that ballot, canceled their registration. We had 4 ballots that were spoiled by voters, so they came in, got a replacement ballot from us. And then there were 2 where we had a hitch with ElectMT through the way that we were issuing ballots in the system to any voter that was registered to vote in Montana. We were utilizing their ElectMT voter profile to give them what is called a provisional ballot in the system, but for our purposes, it was really just so that we could track it through the same reports that we were using to track the residents. During processing one of those, I believe it was husband and wife, the system had a weird hitch, so we just decided, you know what, we're going to void these 2 ballots, start from scratch, make sure everything's kosher with this record. It was more of a administrative process item than anything that any of the voters did.
So did those 2 voters get to vote? Are
Yes.
they included in this?
Yep, we just voided those 2 stub numbers and started from scratch with the issuing process, just to make sure everything's above board.
And
Right.
a spoiled ballot, you explain what a spoiled.
Oh,
ballot
yeah,
is.
absolutely. A spoiled ballot is when a voter either votes how they don't want to, like perhaps in the case of, let's just say, a candidate election, they voted for candidate A when they meant to vote for candidate B, or it could also be a myriad of reasons such as I spilled coffee on my ballot, or my favorite one so far is my dog ate my ballot. Distinct possibility that actually happened, of course.
Yes.
So myriad of reasons. Either way, the process ends with them receiving a replacement ballot and the original ballot being voided in our system. Do you have any questions on the first third there?
You have answered my questions gracefully as we go along. I'm sorry, Frank.
No, you are perfectly fine.
Kind of the way I work through problems. Go for it.
All right, so moving to the second part of the process, where we are focused more on the 197 ballots that we received that were voted. So 196 of them were folks that we had a record for in ElectMT. So that is a mix of 26 landowners, and the rest of the balance is residents. We did have 1 landowner from Florida who requested a ballot. And of course, being registered in Florida, there's no way we have a ElectMT record for them. So we tracked that one outside the system. So just 1 additional item for us to have an extra report for. That's how it goes. So that brings us to that grand total of 197 secrecies removed from the affirmation envelopes after the signature has been verified and accepted. Going through that opening process, we get down to the secrecy envelopes received for opening, total of 197. We didn't have anything weird in the secrecy envelopes like we sometimes get with federal elections where a City of Helena water bill is returned instead of a ballot, or an empty secrecy was returned. I know, it's
Or a
just
bank
things.
deposit.
We did get a bank deposit at the general. That was quite something. So nothing funky with that, which was really nice to see. It means that, you know, we just have ballots coming back. It's great. So then, because this election is so small compared to the tens of thousands of ballots that we utilize for general, school elections, city elections, we hand counted this one. So there were a total of 197 ballots received for hand counting. 1 was rejected during the hand counting process because it had identifying marks on the ballot. The voter, what they should have done was come in, got a replacement ballot because they filled in 1 option, crossed it out, filled in the other, circled it, and then initialed it. And unfortunately, those initials are the identifying mark. So I understand what they were trying to do, but unfortunately, there's a whole other process for that, and we can't accept it if there's identifying marks. That's the fun part. The ballot is, of course, supposed to be secret and anonymous after we receive it. We don't even know how you voted because of those secrecy envelopes. We just know that you did vote. So, and breaking that down, the turnout percentage is a little goofy because it includes that landowner percentage, but We don't know the total number of landowners that would be interested. Rumor has it there's about 600, 650 landowners out there. So either way, the voter turnout is based on the number of people who voted, and the number of registered voters is just shy of 61%. Comparing this to previous elections in the Caney Creek area, we saw another about 30, maybe 40 ballots over what we typically have seen for the past 2 to 3 years for a Caney Creek election. So engagement seemed to be a little bit higher with the recall election than with a typical trustee election. So the vote total breaks down to 146 voters voted yes for the recall, 49 voted no for the recall, and then of course we had one undervote where that voter didn't select either option, and then we had one rejected because of that identifying marks. So it brings us back to a total of 197 ballots cast. Now the second page you'll see is a more visual breakdown of that vote tally. This is a copy of what we completed on election night. The judges are election staff who signed it rather than elections judges per se, but they are the folks that oversaw this whole process alongside myself. So, yeah. Any questions at all?
Thank you. Thank you for that in-depth, detailed report, Tom. That was very helpful. Commissioner Hunthausen, would you like to comment or
anything.
question?
Yeah, Connor, just for explanation purposes for the record and the public in the room, some public may watch this later. Just the role of the canvas board, why we're doing this, a little bit of background. It's all in law and we have to do this, but what our role is and why we're going through this process, just for the record.
Absolutely, Commissioner. No, that kind of brings it nicely around to the whole reason why we started. So within election statutes in Montana, the election administrator is the person who, well, they're the administrator. They conduct the administrative action that is an election, asking the people the question, giving them those that are qualified for a ballot, the ballot, processing that and bringing it all back together and putting it together in what I consider the story of the election to bring to the Board of Canvassers. Board of Canvassers is typically made up of the county commissioners, though in the case of a absence, we can utilize other publicly elected officials within the county. And the job of the Board of Canvassers is to essentially be a check upon the duties of the election administrator. So democracy is generally built upon balance of powers, checks and balances across the board between all the branches of government. In a similar vein, Montana has built in the Board of Canvassers to check and balance the election administrator. So we bring the story of the election to the Board of Canvassers. The Board of Canvassers is the set of individuals who actually get to declare the results official for an election. If that power were up to just the election administrator, then you could see that being abused in contentious elections, of course. So having that balance of power really makes sure everything's above board.
And Connor was very gracious this election to run it completely for me, because I've been sick for about 3 weeks now.
You got the credit like the perfect time, right before everything kicked off, unfortunately. So
Commissioner Rolfe, do you
That's how
have
it
any
goes.
questions and comments?
No, I think this is very thorough and it's well done and it fully explains how the votes came in and that it's an accurate vote.
How much time did it take to count this 197 ballots?
Explain the fact that it's
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. No, there's a lot of factors that go into hand counting. And in this case, it's the recall question is a yes or no question with no write-in option. So with one race, a yes or no binary, this is probably about as easy as it can get to hand count something. It actually took less time than I anticipated, even with 3 individuals, one person calling how the ballot was voted, and then 2 other folks tally sheeting, just like this. So then we started at about 5 o'clock, and I think we got through the first round, which was 196 ballots, gosh, we paused briefly for dinner and to go check the post office, make sure nothing else was there prior to the close of polls. So I suppose it probably took like, I don't know, Tammy, you were there 3 or 4 hours, you think? overall? Yeah, and then we had one additional ballot to make the 197 that we had hand count that was sitting in the ballot box. All by itself most of the day. We were really hoping that we'd get, 1 or 2 more before that 8 o'clock mark so that, we could hand count 2 or 3 of them, but that
But
was,
the end of the story,
yes,
count less than 200 ballots. It took you how many hours?
about 3 to 4 hours overall.
So if
And
this
with one
was
race.
a standard election,
Oh,
say for county
Oh.
council,
We,
and it was paper ballots
Yes, you
and you had to hand to count them?
we've
That would
already
be-
actually, I
Yeah.
submitted that to legislation a couple years ago on a normal election, not just a county, because normally the counties with the primary or the general. And basically it would be over, what did I tell you, 900 people for 10 hours is what I would need to
Yeah.
do a big election.
to actually get results in a timely manner on a hand count. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Or if you did 100 hours, 90 people. It's just how 9 people at 1,000 hours, however you would like to do it.
And you have another comment? question?
Sure, and I do have another question, and I guess Connor to give Amy's voice a break for that. Just for public interest again, and those that might listen to this later and prior to public comment and answer some questions. Assuming that we affirm this election, what happens next? What is the process? How is, if this seat is vacated, then how is it refilled? Can you just talk to us about what happens next?
Absolutely, no, that's a great question, Commissioner. So per recall statute, if a recall is successful, the seat, it becomes vacant. So turning to Title VII statutes regarding fire districts and how to fill a vacancy, that process is conducted by the county commissioners. So what I've talked with the county attorney's office in the past, and very recent past too, at that, the past couple of years, whenever we've had a vacancy in Canyon Creek, we've had multiple people interested in that vacancy, unlike our other fire districts or even other water sewer districts in the county. So in order to make sure that every individual who is potentially interested in this has 1, a minute to think about it, but 2, also the ability to throw their hat in the ring, same as all the other candidates who are interested. Upon completion of the canvas, certification of the canvas, we can start accepting petitions for appointment for that vacancy. I've already had 1 individual ask about that from Canyon Creek, in fact, and we're planning on leaving that vacancy open for 30 days, at which point I will then bring all the folks who applied and are able to serve as trustees, i.e. Are registered to vote in the district or own property in the district, and bring them to the county commissioners and present them for you guys to vote upon. I will encourage every individual who applies to be at that meeting so that they can be there to answer any questions. You guys can ask them as many questions as you would like, treat it like a job interview is kind of my thought. And then the replacement will be chosen and that person will serve until May 2026 when this seat is up for a regular election.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, that was the explanation. Tom, do you have anything?
I'll explain. Well,
Well done.
I try.
All right, we will have now come to the portion of this happy little party where we ask for public
We
comment.
don't ask for
Well-
public comment, we have to certify.
I have to certify before.
First, we have to basically, yes.
Not what it says on my itinerary
Ah, we
here,
will get that
so
updated then.
next time, make sure
Public comments.
I will add that in.
the public comment comes in after we affirm.
Yes, because you're saying whether this is correct, whether things add up, and whether you believe that it was done. They can then comment on it afterwards on the campus.
It's so complicated, thank you, Raymond.
All kinds of fun.
Okay, well, time has come, boys and girls, for us to, but I believe it'd probably be appropriate to have a motion to affirm.
If you so desire.
If, or tonight.
Because you can also charge us with a recount, or you can also ask to view the ballots.
Chair Payne,
Yes.
I would move the confirm and approve the canvas of the March 18th, 2025 Canyon Creek Fire District Board recall election.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. And it appears appropriate. We'll now vote on it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes on a 3-0 vote. Left.
We didn't share, didn't have an opportunity to comment, but I just want to say thank you to for the good explanation. All of you, Tammy
Oh, yeah.
and
This is-
Amy, for your good work and
That you guys drove in, so, I mean, this is the way it's supposed to
Almost all these folks were also here watching the hand count,
Thanks.
so.
be. Okay, with that, we can move into public comment. Is there any public comment?
Comment or
Yeah.
question? Can I ask a
State your
question?
name.
Greg Weed. Let's say somebody already on the board, they put him in as chair. Do they then just pick from the other group to fill the 5 people on the board again?
For a vacancy,
Yeah.
so like if there were another vacancy,
Yeah, well,
picked from the
let's-
same group of people.
Let's say somebody on the board, like they apply to be, because it's for the chair position, correct?
It's not specifically for the chair,
Oh, okay.
so it's just for that seat on the board of trustees. Officers
that
are
is-
chosen within the board by the board. So
Oh,
chair,
okay.
secretary, treasurer, yeah, that's all done by the board themselves.
Okay,
For the purpose of elections, I don't really care who's the chair, who's
Okay.
the treasurer, secretary, etc.
Thank you.
It's a good question though.
Any other public comment or question?
Connie Horder. It's really just a comment. In this circumstance, I just thought I'd let it be known that the 30-day period, was that a chosen or a statute, that 30 days? It was just,
It's chosen just because in the recent past, we've done that 30 days. There isn't a statute to back that, but there is precedent with other non-elected boards for the county to do that for 30 days as well. But yeah, I understand that if the public for the district feel differently, then I'm whatever the commissioners charge me with, I'm happy to proceed with.
well, and to follow up on that, the reason I asked is 30 days can be reasonable for things like that and gives you time and everybody else time. The only problem that could occur is you now have a board of 4 people and no way to necessarily even have a meeting if they don't agree and don't have a quorum. So that could be a problem in this instance, since they wouldn't be able to actually, it could happen that they would not be able to even have a meeting. If you have 4 people, what if 2 to 2, you don't have a quorum that agrees?
Oh, that agrees. You can have a quorum.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Only if
yeah.
you show up.
my mistake.
And if they don't, if
They
they
don't.
decide they don't agree, then the answer is no.
You essentially have I think the technical term is a hung board. 2
Okay.
and 2.
Just revote on it following.
I'm not sure that's getting beyond my expertise, is whether the board could just re-vote on those items after they have 5.
Sure.
Getting beyond my expertise there.
Tom? did you-
Sure, Sheriff Payne, would it be correct if I might ask Connor that the vice chair of the board would become the chair in the absence of the chair?
In my experience, and my experience doesn't include serving on a public board for the state of Montana. It's mostly just student senate and then observing Senate versus House of Representatives, state and federal level. Typically, that is how it proceeds, is that in the advent that the chair is unable to serve, whether that's because they can't make the meeting or they've resigned or something like that, typically the vice chair steps in. You see that all the time with the legislature right now, for example. Let's say the chair of the committee has to go present their bill to a different committee. The vice chair will take over for the chair.
So they would be able to have a meeting, if I might, they would be able to have a meeting. They may in a vote wind up being a lock because there's an even number of members.
Yes, that is my understanding. I also don't have a law degree, so I can't speak to the completeness of it, but I would suspect that's how it would break out. At the same time, considering a fire district the size of Canyon Creek for the number of people it serves, having a hung board, so to speak, could be, yeah, I could see it being problematic for the folks, but then also want to see the transparency and openness, of leaving that position open for 30 days to let people jump in. So yeah, if you guys decide that 30 days is good, or you want to bring it down to like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, yeah, I will leave that to your discretion, because at the end of the day, it is you folks who will be appointing to fill that vacancy. So
Is it? Oh, thank you. More public comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, Wendy Adamson.
Yes.
I'm currently a trustee. And my experience with what happened about a year ago, the notice of the trustees who had resigned, I believe was on March 6th, and I was appointed on March 19th. So the idea of 30 days is kind of a new little bit of information for me even to absorb in this moment, and I am concerned about what that could do for our future. Our board has been not functioning very well, and the remaining parties at this point are still not functioning very well. And the idea of, well, we could technically have meetings. I'm not sure that until we have that 5th member that we will be able to push through some of the challenges that we have been experiencing. So I am concerned about it being a full 30 days. I do find it interesting that for the board with as many issues as it has that I kind of stumbled upon, there's a bunch of people signing up to try and get right into the middle of it. That does seem to be a very interesting reputation that we have. So I do think the right decision is very important, but I am concerned that 30 days may be a concerning period of time, considering we had to move to a place of a recall due to the way things had been run, legally sound argument, but the state that our fire district is in, we could really use some moving to the next step. And I don't know how 30 days will settle with the community, and my concerns as just an active trustee. So I am concerned about 30 days.
And to clarify a touch more, I think the March 6th date was specifically when the Canyon Creek Fire District Board itself notified the public of the vacancies, because the elections office was notified in February of the vacancy. I remember specifically one of the trustees who was looking to resign was also up for election, and she asked if she could have her name removed from the ballot and just totally wash her hands of it all, but it was beyond the withdrawal period for that election. So unfortunately, she still had to have her name on the ballot, and by extension, the fire district still had to have an election. So that would be the board half, unfortunately, that probably should have noticed that sooner, but such is. I do see the reasoning behind making it maybe shorter than 30 days. I also see the pros for doing 30 days specifically. So, commissioners, all up to you guys.
30 days,
Commissioner
March
Chair
6th.
Payne,
Be from today.
Mr. Fitzpatrick. So in that instance, was there a 30-day notice, 30-day?
It seemed that
Approximately.
there was a 30-day time frame from the notice we received in February last year. And with the number of folks jumping in, I believe it was 5 by the time we were done with it
Yeah.
all.
I'm not asking, but I just, that timeframe, our precedent has been a 30-day.
Yeah, for that, and then as well as there were, I believe,
And
was it 2 resignations the previous year, if I remember correctly? There's either 1 or 2 resignations the previous year that we also had a 30-day window for.
Okay.
I believe that would have been
And our
June 23.
other boards and committees, that's essentially. what-
Other boards and committees, I don't have as many
Well,
folks
the ones that
applying.
you're involved with, the elected ones, they're
Mhm.
30 day.
I don't have as many folks applying. Usually those seats will sit open for any amount of time. Like the water sewer district one we just did this morning, that sat open for almost a whole year. So,
May I ask a question?
Well, I just want to finish up on that. So I just was gonna mention to the board here that Though I have a lot of compassion, understanding, been through a lot out there, and as soon as we can move on, it is a better thing. However, if we have, I mean, it's not our doing, and we, there's challenges on every board and every decision you make, and we didn't create that, and I don't know that we change our processes nor go away from what we do normally, quote unquote, normally do. Is my opinion, that we would stick to a kind of standard, because we're gonna have elections in the future that something's vacated, we have to do this process in the future. So if we have a standard process and we choose 30 days, and then we could always change that, but it seems to me that we stick to that as well. I would caution that we don't want to get involved in the internal workings of that elected body. So we stick to our processes, and if that's challenging, then that's, sorry about that, but that happens. And then the other piece to that would be that, and I just lost my train of thought.
That's good, because I would like to comment on your first train of thought.
Well, I wanted to finish.
You finished on that point. You may notice that the three of us do not always see eye to eye. This is a nonpartisan county, and so the fact that Tom is Republican, Andy is a Democrat, I am absolutely, it depends on what the topic is. And so, in this case, I don't agree with Andy's declaration, 30 days is 30 days. We have a very awkward situation in Canyon Creek. We do not want it to turn into, what was that road up there where they were shooting at each other? No, we need to get this taken care of. People on that board need to recognize it's a 5-member board. Whoever it is that gets elected needs to be able to take some information from this side and then work toward the middle, rather than always, by golly, I'm always on Andy's side because you know what Andy, he's it. Well, that's just not true. I don't agree with everything Andy does. And so I'm trying to encourage people who are going to participate in this to recognize you can't always just jump on the board because you've always been a Republican, and by golly, this kind of board doesn't work that way. It is up to all of us. It is all of our properties that we have to protect, and our loved ones, and who is going to benefit from this. And it doesn't matter if you are on Tom's side or Andy's side. The bottom line is you've got a duty. We come together to protect all of our interests, and if there is a huge fire burning through Canyon Creek, it could wipe out everybody. And the Canyon Creek Fire Department is not prepared to act because they're busy fighting over who hit back who first. That's not gonna work. So that, there ended my lecture, and I recognize that perhaps we should allow less time than 30 days. Is there any specific, I mean, just because we've always done it that way. I mean, they didn't used to let women vote, you know. So I think we should lessen the amount of time. 30 days is probably too much. These people have to live with it. Connor?
If I may, I think perhaps so since this meeting is related to the canvass and the election itself, perhaps the best route forward is to take either until Tuesday next week or Thursday next week, and then announce it, to think about this, and then confer, and then announce it at the county commissioners meeting perhaps. And then at that point, we can do outreach. The one individual who has asked about this, she's also part of the Canyon Creek School Board, so I'm in contact with her anyway, school elections. So more than happy to let her know, hey, this has changed, And then anyone else who comes in, we can go, hey, the commissioners are discussing whether how long to leave this open for. And before appointing to fill the vacancy, we'll announce on X day. And more than happy to do a bunch of outreach utilizing Betsy Kirkby, our communications director, to make sure that the word gets out. And I'm sure the local folks in Caney Creek will also make sure the word gets out as well.
If I may, it may also give us the chance to check MCA to see if there is anything about a 30-day period. Normally, a candidate has like 2.5 months to do something, so you also don't want to make it so short that you're not fair to other possible candidates. And on the 30-day thing, coming from an accounting side, audit side, consistency is the key. A lot of times, and whether you're going to get sued or whether you're doing something incorrectly, is keeping that consistency there, which is kind of probably what Andy was referring to on the 30-day and what Connor has seen on the 30 days. But I do think we should check the MCAs, and we maybe even want to talk to our legal and just see if they know anything. And we can also reach out to other counties to see what they do on these and how long they give for a vacancy for people to fill. Because we may not know the MCA right off the bat, but one of our other counties partners may.
And as well, since there's a recall that triggered all of this, perhaps there is something specific when a recall triggers it. My first recall election, so all kinds of fun. I don't think there is, but again, I don't have a law degree, so better to measure twice and cut once, so to speak.
I have a law degree and I don't know either. So yeah, let's look it up. You want to make a comment?
William Madison, being a firefighter that was on the department and was stepped away, and I've now been reinstated on the fire department in the past couple months, we do not have a fire chief. So by this 30-day protocol that is being discussed and trying to expedite it is a serious concern as a firefighter perspective, because we do not have an active fire chief, nor do we have firefighters. Because of this situation has caused 5 of our 7 firefighters to resign. And we're trying to get them back, but they cannot come back until we have it balanced out. And with only 4 trustees, and we're coming into spring, we're coming into fire season. As you've already seen, we've got controlled burns right now going, and there's 3 other fires that took place past couple of days. That being said, a 30-day waiting period to get another trustee in there would seriously hurt the community, because without an active chief, because Mr. Rick Grady did, after he brought in Jeremy Gilliam, and after he resigned, Jeremy Gilliam resigned after 42 days being in that position, couldn't handle it. We have not had a fire chief since then. So we're down to 2 firefighters, plus myself, we're at 3 firefighters right now that are doing the work of 7+ firefighters. And without an active chief to direct and to control and to do those things that a chief is to do, waiting 30 days, it's gonna hurt us. It's gonna, because without a chief, the firefighters are gonna come back.
Okay. Just to help educate.
Go for it.
If there's a fire at Caney Creek, don't you think the other fire, there's other fire entities all around you
Yes.
that have active, functioning fire departments that could step in with their fire hoses
Yes.
and put out the fire. So is it an emergency on its face? I understand what you're saying, but reality is, and I'm particularly nervous about Amy's remark about if we don't follow the protocol, if we get sued, and we probably will, those darn lawyers, we have to balance. It isn't like if there is a fire, there is nobody out there.
Not nobody, we have partnership with Birdseye, but relying on another station to do what we could do is unacceptable.
But
Response.
But what's a lawsuit versus loss of life? That's what we're coming down to. A community can get completely lost in the matter of an hour to 2 hours, and lives, homes, everything come to a screeching halt because we're concerned about a lawsuit that could be concerning to our pockets versus now we're dealing with X amount of lives and homes that have lost and people have lost everything because we're worrying about our pocket. And as a firefighter, pocket to me is second, community's first.
One thing I was trying to ask Connor, since I can't talk, is the question about an interim fire chief. If we were to able to give the 30 days and get somebody in there in the interim, just for a very short amount of time, that might be an answer. I don't know. It's something that we need to check.
Commissioner Andy.
Just to clarify, really, my point was that I think we should be consistent with what we've been doing, whether it's 3 days or 30 days, I don't care how many days it is. But the other point that I was going to make was that we need to make sure that we give people enough time, because if we, on the other end of things, say, hey, you had that open for 3 days, and I didn't even hear about it till the 4th day, and I didn't have an opportunity to put my name in. So we have to have it long enough to let that happen. And then the other thing I would caution us again, please, none of us here should be giving advice nor getting into the business of another elected body and how they're running their business. I'm really point of that. So we don't need to be doing that, talking about who they should get or how they should run their vice, you know, whatever, run their meetings or whatever. So so I just caution us again. I think we've done our job today. The agenda is to approve the canvas.
When
And
you're up
we
to
need
your
move
elbows in
forward. So,
alligators, it's sometimes hard to remember that you were sent to drain the swamp. We were sent here to come to verify the election.
right.
We were not sent here to solve the social problems in Kenya.
Right.
All right. With that in mind, recognizing I'm now 25 minutes late to my next meeting, we have a motion to affirm the veracity.
Motion
We've
has
done
been
this.
voted upon.
We voted,
Signed there.
signed,
Public comment.
public comment now closes
Last
on this
call.
matter. And we are adjourned. Thank you for
Thank you.
participating.
On discussion.